Are we living the things we most wish never happened? It seems we are. We can feel the tear ducts twinge. That we can feel the tear ducts twinge thinking about that in these moments. The sounds might blur out, and maybe we can name it. But this time in our families' lives, our kids' hurts, our spouses' fears, our fears, it can be undoubtedly be heavy, and we undoubtedly wish it never happened. But then, we pray at the end, God, make this bring joy. You didn't send this pain, but you can get your joy from it. Others can see you and us, but we can only do that when we show your presence in our world.
Thank you, Justin, for making this your idea.
It's my pleasure, man. I mean, I am great at taking your ideas and making them my own. So thank you.
This, in terms of your idea, so you wanted to kind of do a follow-up, and I thought it was a great idea to be able to say, hey, we did a lot of things during this retreat. I think a lot of dads were impacted by it, and so being able to kind of follow up and say, hey, here's another way to kind of process that. So I thought it was a great idea. So,
yeah.
And we have someone coming on line here in just a little bit. Tell us about who that person is.
Yeah, so we asked Samuel Coston to join us. As y'all know, Samuel is with For the Sake of One in Texarkana, and he has been an integral part to starting this dad retreat and was part of it last year as well as this year. And he also serves alongside his wife. She started For the Sake of One and does that full time as their executive director. And Samuel is a good husband and supports her with that as well as connecting with dad. So we just thought, hey, let's bring Samuel on here as well.
Yeah, he's got a calm spirit, if I can say that. So when I first met him at the retreat, I instantly felt at ease.
Yeah, that's great.
And he's very complimentary. He said some things about you and said some things about me.
Wow,
so that's
great.
It meant a lot to that. So we spent the weekend at Stag's Leap Lodge in Broken Bow.
Yeah.
No, Hochatown.
Hochatown. Spending time with them, but then also it's over so quickly, and then it's just like, man, we'll quite possibly never have this same group together again. Everything changes a little bit, and so that's why I was excited to do this as kind of a follow-up. It's like, hey, we just spent a good amount of time together and got to know each other well, and so I know I'm not able to see your face now or hear your voice, but at least we can all connect in this way and just kind of talk through some of the things we learned.
Yeah. It was, I was able to go away from the weekend and come home and say, and when my wife said, how did it go? I'm like, it went really amazing. Did you learn anything? Yeah. What'd you learn? And it wasn't an like, what did I learn? It was an like, I don't have words for it yet. It's still kind of all floating. And it's still kind of floating. I was at our church's small group and was able to tell a little bit about this. And I said, the thing that I've learned this weekend, God has like repeated several times. And so I'm going to go ahead and pay attention to that.
Yeah. So I think that's a great thing is that sometimes it takes several days and you realize what things you're repeating, what things are you talking about, what things are you thinking about from the weekend that may not have hit you as big the first time, but it's hitting you more and more as you go.
Yeah. And I think, just while we're waiting for Samuel to come on, being able to be in an environment where you can say something, how you're feeling about it, and not feel like there's a judgment with that. You can just, I think you're the one who said, this we hear it safe place all the time, but you said, this is a place where you can say something and people immediately understand.
Yeah.
And
it's a judgment-free zone, kind of like Planet Fitness, but
no lunking. What I saw? I saw not just words being said, and not and understood, but posture and just glances.
Mm.
There were times where we would be sharing something, and then when I was doing it, when I had other people, they would just lose their words,
Mm.
and you just understood. You saw the tear,
Mm-hmm.
you saw the face, and you're like, I know what that face means.
Yeah.
And so that was really good.
I think so many times we walk into these retreats and we think, hey, I hope I get some things out of this, but I also don't want people to know what a failure I feel like I'm being as a dad right now or as a husband right now. And we bring in some shame that we don't want to share. And I was so thankful that some dads were willing to open up and just share the things that they feel like they've struggled with or ways that they feel like they've missed the mark. And then hearing other dads encouraging them in that place that, hey, we're all missing the mark in some way, but God is using us in a great way to help these children that come from a lot of trauma, come from a lot of brokenness. And God's not asking us to fix them. He's asking us to walk alongside them in their brokenness and help them to see that there is hope. And there's hope in Christ, and there's hope in being part of their family.
Yeah, yeah, and even having some dads go, oh yeah, I don't have to fix them. It's not my job to fix them. My job's to love them. I'm gonna check to see if he's online yet. He should be. Nothing yet. Come on. Is it time yet? I don't even know what time it is.
Yo, it's time. Let me text him.
Maybe. Yeah. He may be having a hard time getting online. Who knows?
Who knows?
This might be a shorter podcast than we thought. It won't be. So our theme, kind of going off of what last year's was with the Bigfoot. You asked me about last year's. It was Bigfoot holding an umbrella,
Right.
and so this year I took the Bigfoot theme, and he's holding his thumb up, and then he says, "Hey, Dad, I believe in you." You know, because it's a hard time to, a lot of people don't believe in Bigfoot, but to have Bigfoot, Sasquatch say, "Dad, I believe in you."
I know.
Yeah.
I think that's incredible that you were able to get Bigfoot. First of all, that you were able to connect with Bigfoot, and then you were able to get that from him.
Yeah.
To where
There he is. Here we go. Howdy ho.
I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off, I guess. I'm good.
That's awesome, man. That's the
Yeah.
dad life.
That's it. That's it.
Look at us. We've got headphones on. We're looking like we're official.
Y'all are legit. Like looking good.
Well,
I don't
thanks,
even know
man.
if y'all can see me. There I am.
Oh,
Yeah,
we can see you.
We can see you and we can hear you. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Let me get.
It's kind of like a Bigfoot sighting. That's what I feel like.
Yeah, sorry, I'm on a Zoom, but behind the curtain, right?
No, that's
Let
great,
me get
man.
out to the garage where it's my quiet, safe space. And
Oh, nice.
Oh, you need.
chat.
Okay, so that's the first takeaway today, gentlemen. Get yourself a quiet place and make it. You can close the door behind you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so we've already done some introductions, and so we've already introduced you, so they already know about you. But I would, I think I would like to know a little bit more about what you do, and your love for doing it.
Okay. Well, I'm a husband and a dad, like everybody else here, and secondary to that, I get to be an assistant principal at an elementary school, and so I've been in education for 14 years, and really that was kind of like the gateway drug into adoption and foster care for me and Angela. But education is one of those things where if you can educate a group of people, then you can affect change in society long term. And so giving kids a chance to learn what they're think critically and be able to be excited about what it is they're doing gets me excited. I think elementary education as a whole is kind of like a rocket launch, right? You got all this stuff built up, but elementary is that platform. And if the platform doesn't work or if it falters, then the launch falters. So that's what gets me excited about elementary education specifically. So I've been an assistant principal for 7 years now, and I was a teacher for 7 years before that. I taught behavior units, I taught special ed, I taught general ed. I even taught GED classes 1 year. And so
Wow.
my kids were in that year, or that those night classes, I taught my kids were anywhere from 15 to 57.
Mm.
So
Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
yeah, a lot
That's
of fun.
cool, man. Mm.
And so your entrance into the adoptive fostering space came from there, you said?
Yeah. So my wife grew up in a bigger city. Like I grew up in Texarkana, and um, there was nothing here when we first got started. But she grew up in Little Rock, and so she had been exposed to some ministries that helped out with foster and adoptive care. And she'd always said, "I want to adopt or I want to foster." I said, "Yeah, just go be a casa. Somebody else does that stuff. Go do it." But once I got into education, I started seeing the need and the reality of our county specific. At that point, I want to say there were like 114 kids in care, and there were 4 homes.
Oh wow.
Oh my gosh.
And so now there's I don't know the exact numbers. I know that our area tends a lot more, but we do have more homes now. So
Hmm.
I don't know what they are currently, but just that being 27, 28, having a 3 bedroom house and being pretty full of myself and my capacity, I thought kids just need somewhere to live. How hard can that be? Like I've got 2 extra bedrooms. Let's send them our way.
Super
We didn't
easy.
know. Yeah, no big deal. But
They sleep all the
uh,
time anyway.
yeah, you love them, and it fixes everything. So yeah, so that's how we got in. That was the gateway.
Yeah.
Just seeing the reality of, yeah, there were kids who should be removed, and by CPS's uh, protocol they should be, but at the end of the day they couldn't because there were worse situations that they had to save the 1 or 2 remaining beds for.
Mm.
It was a hard reality. It was a shock for myself.
Yeah.
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 I was in Arkansas. I was in Fayetteville, Arkansas, in 2002 to 2015, and
Oh wow.
we went through the call
Hmm.
with when we fostered and adopted, and so I had that shocking thing too when they were telling me some of the realities of what. So at first we're like, well, let's learn more about what it means to be a foster parent, and then to realize what the kids go through. Um, Shocking.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's almost like you hear it and you're like, I can't not help now.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think for me at that point, there was a lot of misplaced frustration because I just thought, well, why aren't more people doing something? Like we tell them about it, why aren't they doing something? But reality is like there's a lot of ways other than just fostering to get
Mhm.
plugged in.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
anyway, I won't
Very
rabbit
true.
trail on that. Sorry.
Well, and we've got all these dads that we probably all have some sort of similar story of how we got involved and just the shock of what we've heard, and then the feeling like, hey, I can make a real difference, and then the reality of, man, this is a lot harder than thought it was going to be, and so I think that's one of the reasons why this retreat, it was so exciting to just see so many dads come together. And even though most of them didn't know each other, we all had that instant connection of, hey, this is hard. Yes, we are glad we are doing it, but we need some refreshment. We need some support and some direction, and also the reality that even after the retreat, I know of some of our dads that are having really tough weeks. That
Yeah.
it's not like the retreat fixes everything by any means, but it gives us a new lens to look at things through, and so I'm thankful for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think one of those guys reached out to me and I mentioned you and he said he'd spoken with you and just, man, the value I see in things like this, the retreat itself or, a weekend for like this is like invaluable in of itself. But beyond that, when you get back home and stuff happens and you just need 5 minutes in a text with somebody or 5 minutes on a phone call or a Marco Polo thread or whatever it is you have with those guys, these retreats afford you that. And so your exceptional circumstances, you can find normalcy within it by other people who are in that same world.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for this retreat that I was able to connect with that guy. You were able to connect with that guy. Others were in the midst of his chaos, his family's chaos. He's able to reach out and be assured, get resources and connect to people, but also be reassured that he's a good dad. I think that's a key component that we can all pick up from this.
Yeah. I'm thinking about the dads that come from families that were there had spent months isolated, they were all by themselves. And now all of a sudden they have this whole community around them.
Yep.
And so yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, that was one of the things we thought about with this talking together about this, is to kind of reflect on some things that and remind some of the dads about what that meant, the value of coming together. So that's why Justin brought you along, and so
yeah.
Cool.
Thanks.
Well, and I was so thankful to have Jason Johnson with us for the weekend and really pour into us, and he, in the way that only Jason Johnson can do, he brought up a whole lot of things that I never would have thought about in that way. And I think it really helped launch us into some conversations. And so I'm thankful for those sessions and those times that we had.
Yeah.
For sure. He was amazing. Like I feel like I could run through a brick wall after I listened to him talk about, stuff we face. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Knowing that it's normal, I guess, and regular. So like when he was talking about culture making, and I forget, it was so impactful.
It was something.
No, so there was that. You know what? I brought my notes because I don't want to forget about this.
I've got mine right here too. See,
there we go.
Me too. Yay!
The idea of going from culture down to consume or cultivate. That's what it was. Consuming is easy to do, and we sometimes, especially in crisis, we want to just check out, and so to consume things is easy, but then the payoff makes life hard. Versus to cultivate was to do the hard things first. Our family called it pay now or pay later, but you cultivate first, and then that cultivation generates an easiness of that.
Yeah. And he was talking about day 4, like the closing. Jason was talking about after, the post cultivation, like, there was he made that T chart, and the faithful, some of them saw miracles, but some of them were tortured. And some of them saw immediate victories, but some of them were murdered and extorted. And some of them saw healing, but some of them were left destitute. But they were all faithful. And their circumstance didn't determine their value in the eyes of Christ. And like, I'm still having to sit with that one, right?
Yeah.
Like, because it's not easy out here. But
yeah.
And y'all remember my comment? I was like, sometimes I just don't want to do it. How do you do when dads don't want to do it? And I mean, we keep doing it, but I think remembering the measure is not something we can look at here on this side of eternity.
Yeah.
It really was a good refresher for me.
Right. Yeah, I had written down, well done, good and successful servant, cross out successful, faithful, and faithfulness is our success. And I was like, oh, wow. That's big. And I think even taking that a step further with our kids, everything that, the external world teaches them is to try to do whatever to get happy, to strive towards happiness. And I was having the conversation with one of my kids about it. It's like, God, he wants you to be happy, but he really wants you to be holy. And same thing with faithfulness and success. It's like, we would love to show success. We would love for others to see success. We would love for us in our own, lives to just feel like we've been successful. But God is more concerned with our faithfulness, because our faithfulness is his success.
Yeah.
you know.
Oh, wow.
And so
What? I just learned that just now. Thank you.
I don't know. That might not have been theologically correct. It sounded cool at the moment that our faithfulness is his success. So
Well, it radiates his glory.
That's
so
true.
when we're faithful, not successful, when we're faithful,
Hmm.
then
Right.
he sees that.
Yeah.
No, not he sees that. People see what's happening, even if it doesn't make sense. What is going on? What? It's
Yeah.
just, yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I think if people look at us and can say your happiness doesn't make sense.
Hmm.
Not that we want to sit here and be like martyrs and just be downtrodden, but
Right.
or maybe they don't say it that way. Maybe they just say you always have an uplift. You are always so uplifting, or you always radiate joy. Well, if we're radiating joy, truly we're radiating Christ. Maybe they don't know
Hmm.
that it doesn't make sense, but we want them to see that.
Yeah. Well, I'll say
You know,
one thing while you're looking
yeah,
that I was reminded of on session 2, the greatest asset is not money or time, it's attention. And that was a big one for me because I used to say that my greatest asset is not money, it's time. But attention takes that another step
It does.
further. And I was like,
I
oh
forgot about
man, that hit me hard.
yeah. Um, kind of that attention piece. He asked the question somewhere in there, and this might have been, I'm paraphrasing, but I wrote, "Are we living the things we most wish never happened?" Um, it seems we are. We can feel the tear ducts twinge. That we can feel the tear ducts twinge thinking about that in these moments. The sounds might blur out, and maybe we can name it, but this time in our family's lives, our kids' hurts, our spouse's fears, our fears, it can be undoubtedly be heavy,
Hmm.
and we undoubtedly wish it never happened. But then, we pray at the end, God, make this bring joy. You didn't send this pain, but you can get your joy from it. Um, Others can see you and us, but we can only do that when we show your presence in our world. And I just think at the end of the day, like he was talking about it, for this to exist, hurt has had to have happened. Loss has had to occur. I want to say it delicately, but sometimes when we start these journeys, we don't understand the reality of the other side of it, of our kids building in with them there, saying, "You're safe. I'm with you here."
Mm.
And I'll be honest, I have a strong tendency to say, I'm going to go build a house here and then try to lift him up. I'm going to pull you up.
Yeah.
But the reality is, they're not pulling us down, but we've got to build in there where they are.
Mm.
Yeah.
That was my good reminder, biggest aha.
Yeah.
Sure.
That reminds me of a quote I just saw the other day, was a Spurgeon quote. If life grinds you into the dust, worship there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we're watching the kids that didn't ask for this, didn't ask for any of it, and we were just in their dust, and we feel it, and just watching the dads being able to, just as we were all feeling the weight of it, but also at the end of it, being able to pull out some. One of the dads was talking about. He said he said his daughter came out, and in the middle of his son's outburst, said, "Kate, can I read you the Bible?" And read the Bible while holding his hand, because his hand was going to punch her.
Mm.
And so she was holding his hand, and she was reading scripture, and he was just watching his daughter do that. And we were like, those are the moments that you caused to remember and say, daughter, you did that.
Mm.
In the middle of that dust and that pain, you decided, pull out the Bible and just do whatever you can to worship
Mhm.
there. I thought that was a powerful, and you don't get that in a concentrated place except like this retreat. You just get story after
Right.
story and all that.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I love that Spurgeon quote, man. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. But I think like what you're talking about, Samuel, is we're not trying to pull them out. We're willing to step into it and
Yeah.
build our house there with them. And I think sometimes for me, I take great comfort in knowing that God is pleased by my faithfulness, not my success. But how often am I translating that to my kids? And how often are they thinking that I will be pleased when they're successful
Yeah.
versus I'm just pleased to be with them. I'm pleased to step in and, hey, let's build a house around this. Let's just enjoy being here. Let's enjoy this connection. And there's nothing expected of you.
Yeah.
One thing that we do as parents, and most of the great things we do are things that my wife Christy thought of. And so, with Valentine's Day coming up, she started several years ago making a heart for each kid for each day that we just tape to their door. And it's just something nice, and you just say, "Hey, I love you for this. I'm proud of you for this." But I find myself thinking about, as you write these hearts, what am I proud of, or what do I love about them, and how can I say it in a way that doesn't show that they have to earn it?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm
Right.
proud of you for getting a job. I'm proud of you for this, but it's like, I love you just because you're and it's hard for me to put that into the right words. And so that's a whole success thing. It's like, I just love you because you're you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That is hard.
I I remember that one thing he said was, you get up in the morning, and what's the first thing you think of? What are we going to cover our shame with this morning?
mm,
So it's like, instead of thinking about you get up and you think of what I'm going to wear today. Well, part of that question is, what am I going to cover my shame up today with?
hmm
And being able to say, let's think of another question. Is there something else we can ask besides that? How can we do that? And that was the other thing at the very beginning when he talked about the questions. I've heard for a while, when God asked Adam the question, "Where are you?" Why did he ask the question? And my answer's always been, well, God wanted Adam to reflect on where he was. And that's true. But I like the way Jason took it to a step further and said, the reason God did that, God asked the question, is the reason questions are asked, to connect.
hmm
God wanted to
Right.
connect with Adam.
Yep.
That was the whole thing. And I thought, oh my goodness.
Yeah. Well,
That
it's
Go
no,
on.
keep going. Sorry.
No, I was just
Oh,
there's that question of where are you and what do you want?
hmm
Those are the
yeah.
things that truth, after when he said that, has repeated itself like 3 different times this week in totally different contexts. And I'm like, okay, I think this is important to know
mm
for me personally, is
Yeah.
what do you want? What do you want? Hmm.
Yeah. Well, like that connection piece is like, when he appeared to them on the road and just walking, he's walking with them, and they don't know he's Jesus. And he's just there with them, and he's not revealing himself. He's just connecting and relating. And then they have dinner, and then finally he's like, "Oh, hey, see ya," and boom, that was Jesus. Like that's going in. That's building in where they are. He didn't pull them out, or
Mhm.
he just went where they were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, we're going to do this again, in terms of the retreat. And I know you have things for your dads that are close to you? Is there what's the next project as we look? Because I'm looking at the time and it's coming close. And what are some projects you're working on up there?
So uh, we actually, so some guys and I have been for about 6 months now, maybe seven, uh, getting together once a month and doing fireside or backyard fire pit. I mean, there's nothing flashy to it at all. And it's from we do it one night a month from about 8 to 10 p.m. because that's when little kids are in bed and maybe the older kids that are employed are coming home or doing homework. That's just the most calm window, I guess. But we are trying to figure out some ways to get some broader stuff and open up more to other guys. We have talked about some different things, like either maybe doing a kind of like we for so I'm not for the. I should probably give that disclaimer. Like I'm just married to the director of for the sake of one. Like I'm a sometimes handyman up there, and that's it. But we were talking about I mentioned it to them too for the sake of one about maybe doing a thing where it's like, okay, instead of let's say this month, whatever month it is, instead of doing the parents' night out like we always do it, where it's like, hey, drop your kids off and go out on a date. There's a pre-prescribed offer if you want to either go hang out with a bunch of other adoptive parents, like like a large group date, or do a girls' night or like a mom's night and a dad's night, but
Hmm.
at the same time as the
Hmm.
uh, parents' night out. So we're working on that, trying to
That's
talk
cool.
about logistics.
Yeah, I like
Um,
that.
but to all any, if there's 100 people listening to this, seven of them are probably dads, right? Because at least the first round, because our wives
Right.
tell us to go listen to it. Um, but to any guys listening to this, our wives are really good about sitting around and talking, and we're not, and that's okay. Like
Yeah.
I think there's value in just sitting around and maybe just talking about how rigged the NFL is and how the Chiefs have those really cool striped jerseys or whatever it is you want to talk about. Um, it doesn't have to be something of substance, but there is a undeniable value of being in a room with the other guys who get it, whatever it is for you.
Yeah.
And I think for us as adoptive dads, it's the struggle of working through what is our kids need and what it is we can give them and finding that balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's not a whole lot concreted up, I guess, Steve, to answer your question. We don't have a lot of concrete stuff beyond just kind of what we've been doing, but we're trying to figure out some other stuff.
Yeah.
And so I would just encourage if anybody sees that stuff and is even interested, like I'm not a big let's sit around and talk about our emotions guy. So come find me and we won't talk about anything serious, I promise, if that's what
Right.
you need. Like, yeah. But just come hang out.
I like it.
And I would even say, as you were talking, I was thinking, so, Dad, you were at the retreat, and you either made a connection with another dad, but you don't know their name. You forgot their name. So give us a call and say, hey, there was a guy, and I talked to him, and I reach out to just pick one person and just say, you know what, I'm going to
Yeah.
text this one person, and we'll help you get that number if you don't know what that number is, or if you got the number and you're just staring at that name saying, I got to text him, I got to text him, I got to text him. Well, guess what? After
Yeah.
you're done listening to this, text him.
Yeah.
And just do what you're talking about. Just go to the game, go to lunch and talk about nothing. Talk about just be together. I think that's
Yeah.
he even mentioned that in there was we are wired that way. We are
Mhm.
wired to need each other.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. I mean, I've started going to a workout group here in the mornings. And one of the big things of it is like if you bump into somebody else that's in the group, you take a picture, like just the two of you, even if like you're passing each other at Albertsons, it's like, all right, stop, take a picture. We hung out for 30 seconds. And it's just
Yep.
that communal emphasis, normalizing being able to relate to each other. So yeah, I think that's awesome. Yeah,
that's
I
great.
hope if anybody talks to somebody, like you said, reach out. Say, hey, it was the guy that was standing there to the left side of the fireplace on Saturday night, and they kept talking about this. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
For
It's
sure.
easy for me to say. We only brought two other guys other than me, so
No, it's good. Hey, and we already started talking about the Rangers game again. Love to get that together, and so that'll be cool.
Yeah, there's a few games that are probably of interest for people. The Yankees and the Phillies and what was the other one?
The Braves.
The Braves. So, but those are all on certain dates.
Yeah.
What would your choice be?
Well,
if it just had to do with the team. I say that I am not a baseball player, so I don't know. Except the Yankees are always cool.
See, it's hard for me because I'm a Rangers fan and they're terrible. So I don't want to watch them play any of those teams because they're all pretty good. I want to see them play like the Athletics or something.
There was one team, and I was like, "Who is this? Is that even a real team?" I had never.
I want to see them play the Marlins. That's what I want to see them play.
I think it was the Guardians. Who's the Guardians? When did they come around? What's that?
Cleveland. They're
that's their new name.
Cleveland Guardians.
Yeah, that's Cleveland Guardians. So yeah, but I want to see the Rangers play the Marlins. That's
okay. We'll look at the schedule and see when that is.
The upside is they'll probably be a lot cheaper because that's a low market. Nobody wants to see it.
Well, we might get the front row.
Yeah, and
we might get dugout seats or something. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, and Justin,
all those teams are fun.
Yeah, for sure.
They are.
Yeah.
We got some things going on, Justin. What are some things
So we will have this next coming week.
Yeah.
We've got a dad collective. And Steve, you're leading that, right?
We're going to I'm going to choose to do a movie night. So we're just going to watch a movie. And it's one of my favorite movies. And so if I'm leading it, I could choose my movie, right?
Of course.
Secondhand Lions.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
I was going to say Gladiator, but either way.
Right. Yeah. So we'll watch because there's some truths in there that I think are pretty cool. And it does deal with that space of foster adoption.
For sure.
And plus, I love Robert Duvall and Michael Caine.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Yeah, so we got some things, and then Family Connected Collective. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but I think the biggest part is just do it, Dad. So just get out there and take the risk.
Yeah, for sure.
And we'll help you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all kind of messed up. So if you're worried about being found out, it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Secrets out.
We're all messed up.
Yeah.
We're all messed up.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you taking some time out in your garage, and you can go back to telling and helping your son out with whatever he wanted to do. So he's probably out there right at the doorway going, "Come on, Dad, come on."
Yeah. Well, he's supposed to be in schoolwork. His help is here for school. So I don't know what we're doing right now.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's all good.
It's Friday, man. Just Friday vibe.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I enjoyed the retreat, and I just want to say I appreciate you guys and all your work getting that going and bringing in great speakers like Jason Johnson and last year Ryan North. I can't wait to see what y'all do next year, and look forward to being a part of it and helping out any way we can. Once again, I came back and immediately was just telling Angela it was good. Guys asked some hard questions. I know we're wrapping up, but I think as this continues, we'll see guys coming in and faster, the guards will drop, and just the comfort level will soar. Probably year 3 or 4. I think it'll be like, oh man, we just jumped straight in tonight.
Yeah, that's great.
I can't wait to see it.
Cool.
All right. Have a great day.
See you guys. Thank y'all.
All right.
See you, man.
And with that, I'll also say, have a great day, Justin.
All right. Have a great day, Steve.
Have a great day. Have a great day, Dad.
See ya.
See ya.